Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my second video where today we are going to be doing a historical battle between Napoleon Bonaparte and the Duke of Wellington. This is the Battle of Waterloo. Special thanks to our sponsor, Mad for All Studios. They are a photo company. They do family portraits, single portraits. They are really great. I really do suggest them. If you like, subscribe, comment down below. It'll be very helpful. This video took a very long time to make. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy the video. The year was June 18th, 1815. Napoleon has escaped Elba and has an army of veterans who have never lost a fight and are legends in the French army, and many cannons at his disposal to take down the British forces. He would take on the British army, which was led by the Duke of Wellington. His army consisted of British, Dutch, and German, most of which have never seen combat. Wellington had 3 houses to defend: the Papelette's farm, the La Sainte farm, and the last house is Hougoumont farm, which is already getting shelled by artillery. And in front of Hougoumont farm, there's a patch of forest, and there are some skirmishers in the forest to ambush the French forces. Alright, let's start this battle off by, it looks like the French are moving up their infantry and their cavalry. Oh, look at that. Looks like there's going to be a cavalry charge. Just watch this. Amazing, that looks great. Wonderful, wonderful charge there. Great job by the French, but it looks like this is a lose-lose battle for the beginning. The skirmishers will retreat, as will the British heavy cavalry. But it's a great way to start this battle off. The Papelette farm is going to get attacked first, and the British will hold. As you can see here, even though they seem unaware, I think that's just the game mechanic. But they're flooding in. Looks great. Charging in. Now the La Sainte farm is going to get attacked. And the British are going to hold this position as long as they can. They're going to charge in. Look at that. What a wonderful sight. It looks like, looks pretty bad. The British are actually going to lose this battle, and the French are actually going to use this as an artillery position to shoot up at the hill on the other forces. But as you can see, multiple troops, multiple people are fighting. So many French are still flooding in. Not good. But as you can see, multiple French are going down in this battle. It looks like there's going to be a little bit of a duel up here. Interesting looking. Looks pretty cool. It looks like they kind of got shoved into it. But as you can see, the French have multiple troops, and they're going to take this position. Skirmishers in the forest are holding back the French. Looks really good. They're fighting back. So at this point in the battle, Marshal Ney, one of Napoleon's generals, actually thought that the British were retreating. So they gathered all of their cavalry for a cavalry charge. Marshal Ney was wrong. The British were not retreating. They were actually ready for the French cavalry when they arrived. As you can see here, they're gathering all their cavalry. It looks like the French took the forest and they're moving up. You can see some of the cavalry. The skirmishers getting destroyed. They're getting chased. But as you can see, the British forces formed a square formation, a tactic often used in the Napoleonic Age. The French had no choice either to try and break through or die. Yeah, as you can see. But looks pretty cool. Skirmishers are getting attacked. Not good. As you can see, all the other regiments forming square formation. Looks great. Looks like the cavalry's trying to break through, but as I said before, the cavalry had no choice either to break through and die or to try and go around. And the spikes do not help. Amazing sight. What an amazing sight. Looks great. As you can see, the British are going to hold against the French cavalry. The Prussian force led by von Blücher has arrived to ally the British in this battle. Napoleon sent some of his reserves to hold back the Prussians and keep them at bay. Alright, here comes von Blücher coming up. He's coming through some infantry and... Oh, here he comes. Oh, he rushes through some infantry. That was a huge mistake. Alright, here comes von Blücher. He looks like he's about to engage in combat. Alright, here he comes. Alright, look at that. He's coming in. He's going to go against some French cavalry. You can see some of the horses tripping and falling over. Alright, looks like he's going in a little bit of a duel here. Look at that. Wonderful looking. Alright, he takes down one. Really looks amazing. One of the horses came right in the middle of them. And it seems like he's fighting off this guy. He's gonna go back. Well, von Blücher actually falls off of his horse in the middle of the combat. Look at that. Any minute now he'll fall off. Oh, there he goes. That's hilarious. There he goes. He's already down off the battlefield. But just look at that chaos. The Prussians are fighting. So much is going on. It looks like the Prussians are fighting back against the French. And I hope they win. Napoleon didn't have many troops left, so he had no choice but to send the Old Guard, 3,000 veteran soldiers, who had marched toward the British forces, striking fear in the British army. Wellington had one last trick to pull on Napoleon. The Old Guard was ambushed, and as you can see here, the Old Guard was pretty much shot up by musket fire. Look as this Old Guard is getting diminished by musket fire. The Old Guard is holding their ground though, as much as they can. They're holding. Every other soldier is reloading. Not a very good sign for this battle. You can just see the flash of the muskets going off. They're trying their best to hold their ground. They're fighting to the death. And this is the most elite unit in the French army. They are holding their ground, but they are still wavering against these British forces. The odds are not in the favor of the Old Guard. The Old Guard ended up retreating from the battlefield. So much musket fire and so many British to take on. The Old Guard retreated from the battlefield, and when this happened, when they retreated from the battlefield, the entire French army fell into chaos, fleeing from the battlefield. About the same time, Wellington ordered an immediate, it was a devastating artillery hit. Wellington ordered an immediate advance with his whole army. Whole army advanced up towards Napoleon's forces, the very little forces he had. About the same time, the Prussians had defeated the French on this side of the battlefield. Again, not a good sign. So most of Napoleon's forces were gone. They were fleeing from battle. This is not good. But you can already see some of the French fleeing from the battlefield, the Prussians moving up. Not looking good. Just imagine being one of those French soldiers running and fleeing from the battlefield while a whole army is behind you. Horrifying thought. Alright, you can see some of the Prussian army that are moving up, advancing their troops. You can see some of their cavalry that we saw earlier fighting. this is a great sight for the British and the Prussians. They are winning the battle. But this is not a good sight for Napoleon at all. But as you can see, this is the last of Napoleon's forces, his artillery. They're holding their ground. You can see the British advancing already. Not a good sign for Napoleon. Napoleon was having multiple issues. You can just see here the British moving up. Napoleon had one last thing to do. The old guard had retreated. Most of his army was gone and fleeing from the battlefield. So there's one last thing to do. He retreated from the battle with all of his men back to France. A week later, he retreated back to France, and a week later, Napoleon boarded a French corvette, a small warship that was invented by Robert Surcouf and was first launched in sea in 1807. A very fast ship and very portable. Surrendering to the British and went back to St. Helena. He sadly died of stomach cancer. This marked the end of the Napoleonic Age. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this with a friend. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll leave you off to watch the amazing Corvette go back past the screen. And goodbye.